Hi, everyone. My name is Kim C. I'm a creative writing instructor specializing in advanced and intermediate fiction workshop, and this is my one-woman Stephen King podcast, The Year of Underrated Stephen King. On this show, Stephen King's writing and the analysis of his writing is our sole focus, but there is also a lot of love and spotlight given to the constant reader journey. So many readers out there have made King's writing a part of their life, and decade after decade, his stories shape, enhance, inspire, and best of all, allow for really strong friendships to form. I am endlessly fascinated by the constant reader journey, and those of us who have lived years of our lives with King's writing as a most welcome companion. My guest today allowed me to see how some constant readers can have a very similar, rather uncanny reading journey, a twinner experience, if you will. Not only is Mr. Jason White my brother from another mother in Stephen King podcasting, but he is also my constant reader twinner. Jason is the host of the Weird Reads podcast, as well as the Stephen King podcast, Short Bites, where Jason and his guest take a chronological look at Stephen King's short story output. A few weeks back, Jason featured me as a guest on Short Bites, where he and I took a look at the short story The Last Rung on the Ladder from Night Shift. Oh, buddies, I loved it. It was a first-time read for me. It was a shame I hadn't read it sooner, but Ka is a wheel, and we do what she says. It was a wonderful conversation with Jason. And not only did we have a great time exploring this really lovely, really emotional story, but Jason's questions were straight fire, everyone. They were so good, super layered, and I must say, it was kind of nice to get my turn in the question seat and excitedly talk Jason's face off. It was a total blast. But aside from King's wonderful story, I think the best part of the conversation was realizing how similar Jason and I are in terms of our constant reader journey, as well as our growth as readers, what we're attracted to in terms of fiction content, and most importantly, as Stephen King podcaster brothers in arms, what it means to pull the plow in the King community, and the importance of sometimes letting go of the reins and remembering to dream. Mr. Jason White reminded me that in pursuit of this King podcasting life we so enjoy, we must remember to protect and cultivate that sense of wonder. And my friends, truer words were never spoken. Because Mr. Jason was so dang cool, so well-read, wise, and very fun to talk to, I had to scoop him up for a constant reader interview, and here we are. I'm so excited for you to hear Jason's answers. He's such a good egg, and I love his artistic patience and insight. It is with great pleasure to present you all with today's constant reader interview of my friend and fellow Stephen King podcaster, Jason White. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special constant reader interview guest today. This is Jason White, my fellow brother in podcasting. He is a constant reader and a fellow Stephen King podcaster whose content I really, really enjoy. We're here to pick his brain about his Stephen King journey. Hello, Mr. Jason White, and welcome to the Year of Underrated Stephen King.
Hi, Kim. Thanks so much for having me. I am excited to be here. I've been a fan of your show for like 2-3 years now, and I can't get enough of it. I think I've listened to like the majority of all the episodes. It's just so much fun to listen to. And, you know, if you're having a bad day, just throw on this podcast and your personality will dig you out of the trenches. It's great.
Oh my gosh, my heart is liquefied. Thank you so much. The honor is mine, but I'm so happy that you're out there listening. That is the best. All right, Mr. Jason White, for those who are not familiar with your wonderful work on your podcast, can you let everybody know what Jason White is up to in the world of Stephen King podcasting?
Well, in Stephen King podcasting, I started it about a year and a half ago now, I think. It's called Short Bites, a Stephen King podcast. And I invite guests on and we talk about Stephen King short stories. And the plan was, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick to it, but there's part of me that wants to break from it. But we talk about the short stories in their chronological release dates according to the collections that have come out. And also this includes not just like Night Shift and Skeleton Crew. I also want to go into the novellas, the novella collections that were released. So it's a big project, and I'm still on Night Shift because there's been a few blips in the road of both personal life and whatnot, where I just need to take a break or is waiting for a guest to come on, because I've been pretty strict about sticking to each short story as they go. But it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of great guests like Kim C. She was on the last episode and we had a great time talking. I also talked to Jonathan Jans. I'm going to forget people I know.
Mr. Chance!
Yeah, Mr. Jans was on. He's an awesome guy. And so many other guests. I've been on YouTube for a long time, booktube, as we like to call it, where we just talk about books. And it wasn't necessarily Stephen King related, but I talked a lot about Stephen King while I was on there anyway. And so you kind of make friends when you join a community like that. And so I had a lot of my booktube friends come on too, who are Stephen King fans. And unfortunately, one of them, this was frustrating. I'm kind of going on a side tangent already.
We love tangents. We love them.
Yeah, I scheduled this guy. I love his channel and we talk all the time. I scheduled him in and we tried talking more than once, but I was using this program that records on both sides, and his equipment just wasn't up to par. And so I ended up, I feel bad about this. This is why I'm going on about it. He hasn't talked to me since, so I don't know if this is related. But yeah, I kind of canceled him and got somebody else to go on, and that was like why did I do that? Like I should have tried something else, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I've had a lot of friends on and a lot of new people, a lot of the authors that I talked to in my other podcast, which is the Weird Reads podcast. Because that podcast, I just talk about horror books in general and with the author. And so I've made a lot of friends over there doing that. And so I've asked them to come along too, authors like Daniel Brom and Nicholas Kaufman, so many others. It's been a lot of fun so far.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love your work and I love your insight. And I super duper love that you're a fan of Stephen King's shorter works, because you are a rare unicorn like myself.
I know, because I have one question in my Stephen King grill section, and that is, do you prefer the longer works like the novels, or do you prefer the shorter works? And only 3 people, including myself, have answered for the shorter works, and you were one of them. And there's one other guy who was like, yeah, it's nothing, no shade against the novels, they're fantastic, but there's just something about the short stories too that if I had to read them only for the rest of my life, I would be happy, I think.
We are cut from the same cloth, my friend. That we are. Yeah, I'm with you. There's magic. There's magic in the shorter works. And I'm glad that you know this as well.
Yeah, there's absolute magic, man. Like, and yeah, I also have like this weird, everyone loves the earlier short stories more. And I have to, like, they're fun, but they're not my favorite, honestly. I like the older, shorter works of Stephen King more. And that might piss off some of your listeners. I don't know.
It might, but honestly, I don't think so. I think constant readers are all about growth, a lot of them.
Hmm.
Not all of them, unfortunately, but a good majority of them have enjoyed growing with King, and
Yeah,
our artistic preferences change and our meaning changes, and life has its way with all of us. And so I think we're a little bit more sensitive to King's like more recent works that deal with aging and older characters.
I love that. Yes, that's what I love about the older stories, because I'm starting to age myself, right? And so I'm seeing things here that's like, and I'm seeing what's coming too. So it's good to know, and it's good to have Mr. King guide me through it.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk more about what it's like to just live our lives with King, of how lucky we are to be born in the timeline
I know, right?
with Mr. King's writing. But to get us started on our constant reader interview, I was so excited to talk to Jason when I was a guest on his lovely show. And he's such a smarty, he's such a good egg. And I'm like, oh, I need Jason to be a constant reader interview. So I'm very excited for all your answers. And the very first question on all the constant reader interviews is, of course, how old were you when you read your very first King title, and which King title was it?
I was a little late to the game. Not too late, but I started reading authors like Robert R. McCammon and Dean Koontz and John Saul. And for some reason, I was afraid to go to Stephen King because I had friends who read him and they were like, oh, he's nasty, right? They read books like It and whatnot. And so I just kind of avoided them. And I think those bricks of a book, they were intimidating too. Like nobody really is excited to go read 1,000-page tome of a book, or even like a 500-600-page book, right? So I that's my best excuse. But I came to King finally, and you can see that my fear of larger books played a role because my first Stephen King book was Misery, and I was around somewhere between the age gap of 18 to 22 when I read that. And I loved it. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it was still really good. And I just fell in love with King with that story. And I still have that book that I read. And I'm pretty sure it's a first printing hardcover too. Well, that book definitely started the road, right? I can't remember like the order of books of which I read, but I know that It and Pet Cemetery came soon after, and that was basically all it took to get me hooked. I knew that once I read it, this is something else. This is way different than what I was reading, and I wasn't maybe old enough or intelligent enough yet to recognize what it was, but yeah, it was definitely the characters, right? And I was a fan.
Oh, I love that. You started off with some heavy hitters. Those would definitely do the trick in making one a fan for life, I think. So I like your choices. And we're also very similar in that we're late party guests to the Stephen
Yeah,
King community. Because so many constant readers, as you know, were teens, preteens, if not downright children when
yeah.
they read King. And so I was 26. You were in the over 18 gray zone.
From listening to your show, I swear to God, it's like the majority of people. The answer is I was probably too young to be
Yes.
reading Stephen King, and they're like 8 or 9. And actually, I do have a story about that too. I did try to start reading it when I was around 9 years old, but it was too much for me. I made it. That first chapter is pretty hard hitting, right?
Yeah.
I stopped after that. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm not ready for it yet. I probably should have started off somewhere else, but so I never went back until, and that probably played a role too in why it took me so long to get back to him. I was just like, that's kind of rough, right? The It written in blood on the bathroom wall. It's just the whole thing just kind of disturbed me. So I forgot to mention that part, but it just kind of popped in my head right now.
Oh, I love it. That's a core memory unlocked.
Unlocked, yeah. I remember trying, or I was reading it. I went for a sleepover and brought this damn book with me. And when it was bedtime, my friend's like, "What are you doing, man?" I pulled out It, and I'm like, "I'm gonna read this."
You tried.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a nice one.
Mm.
So technically it was early exposure, but then you slammed it.
It was like, no, we're not doing this, and and so that played into that fear. That's right. Yeah, it's weird how memory works, right?
Totally. My second question for you is asking if you are, and this is a complete non-judgmental, just more of like a data question. Are you a King reader who has completed all of his works? You've read everything? Or how many titles would you say you probably have under your belt?
The internet has these checkbox lists that you can, and I was going to do that for the show. The last time I did that, it was at 54, but I've read, I don't know how many since then. Not too many. So I'm gonna round it off to around 57, 58. And that's both novels and collections, like within the whole canon of books. And so I'm not done yet, but the goal is to get there. I'm not too far away though, right? To have reading them all. When I go through the list, it's surprising like how many I have read. Stephen King's the only author who writes a lot of books that I've read the majority of, and it's always surprising to me when I look through a list of Stephen King books and I'm like, oh, read that, read that, read that, read that. Oh, maybe I should read this one soon.
I think it's so wild how our journeys with King are kind of paralleling each other. We're almost mirroring each other's lives. It's great.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm in the 50s too. I think I'm
Oh,
at
nice.
around like 54,
Oh,
55.
sweet. Yeah. Well, that's our own special little club right there.
Totally. Right? Not done yet.
Not done.
We've made a large dent.
I like it that way, though. I don't like the idea of having no more new Stephen King books to read.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that wants to hold on to it, but there's also this part of me that knows that I could, like, life is fragile. It could end anytime. And so I wouldn't have those books in my head when it's time to go. So it's like you're kind of on the fence. Like, do I just go and read them all now? Because, life, right? Or do I just hold off like I have been because I want that list of books that I can still go back to and enjoy for the first time?
I love this, Jason. I love this sort of crossroads of like, read it now and enjoy life or
Yeah.
savor it. This is why I buy so many dresses.
Yeah.
But I feel like I share that same problem with a lot of things. I'll push a King title to the back and I'm like, why did I do that? So yeah, I like that a lot actually. It's a fun sort of life hurdle.
Oh, it is. It's a good problem to have. I'm not complaining at all, but it is a choice, right? Like, okay, because I want to just delve in. I just want to go full throttle and finish it all, like some people have. But then there's that fear, like, well, I won't have any new Stephen King to read.
I have ladies in book club who say the exact same thing. They are
Huh?
holding a couple for hopefully the day many, 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 many years from now when he's no longer with us. And they want to have like a little cache of King works just in
Yeah.
case.
When I say that though, I think of Scott Wampler from Kingcast,
God.
because he always said that in the
Yeah.
Kingcast. He was saving some for when Stephen King passed away.
Yeah.
Then he can enjoy them then, right? But unfortunately, we lost Scott, and he never got to read those books, right?
Right. Oh, wow. That's a good reminder. Yeah. Our next question for you, since we've been talking about the large number of King books that we've read, we've made a very nice dent. Are there King titles you've noticed on your journey you really, really, really liked it, but you noticed it doesn't get the love and attention you feel it deserves, and vice versa? Do you feel there's a King book where you're like, oh, it's okay, I had a good time, but
Yeah.
I'm not in love with it. I'm not as huge a fan as so many others.
The one that I love, but not everyone else seemed to hate. Now, this comes from Facebook mostly, because just to give a little bit of backstory here, I am a friend with a lot of horror authors on Facebook, and they like to bitch about Stephen King constantly.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, obviously. So my first answer to this is from a Buick 8. Before I started listening to podcasts, I read this book and I loved it. I loved it so much. And I told people about it. I was like, this book is great. And I told people about this both on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. And then I was told how I was wrong.
Oh my gosh.
You're wrong because this book sucks and everything. But then I start listening to these podcasts like yours. And the answer for that for a lot of people is this book and other books. So you know that there's some love for it. And that makes me happy because it's a crazy little, I need to reread it again because it's kind of slipping away and I don't remember too much about it. But I remember having an absolute blast reading that book. It was kind of wonky a little bit and it was just fun. Like, I don't know why people hate on it so much. So that's definitely my choice for what people seem to dislike. I don't know what they dislike about it. And the book that I do not love, honestly, I don't think there's any Stephen King book that I would say I absolutely hate that everyone seems to praise. Everyone who praises a Stephen King book, I'm generally on board with. But I will state my least favorite Stephen King book here, and that's probably The Dark Half. I've only read it once, and again, this is one I have to reread just to see if my opinion stands. But I remember feeling like it was a little bit too dark and a little bit too angry. The book feels angry all around. And the book almost feels toxic in a sense. And I don't know what King was going through when he wrote that one, but yeah, that's my. And nobody seems to praise it either. Although people who do talk about it tend to praise it, so I guess that's my choice for that. Like I said, not too many people praise it, but I don't. I certainly don't praise it. Not yet, anyway. Maybe on a reread, I will.
Oh, good choices. Good choices. Could not agree with you more for From a Buick 8. That one is so cool. And you're so right. It's not universally beloved. A lot of people have a lot of problems with it because I think it doesn't exactly give them a satisfying conclusion. And some people aren't built for that. They can't handle their feathers getting ruffled. They want everything cemented. And that book doesn't do that, but it's very artistically beautiful in its own way. And I haven't read Dark Half yet, but I'm going to. And I will keep your thoughts in mind because I've heard all those things you said. I've heard it's ugly, it's uncomfortable, and there might not really be a good reason for it. Do you feel, because I haven't read it yet, should this would have been a Bachman? Is this a King Bachman moment?
Well, I think Stephen King wrote it after his whole Bachman thing was
Okay.
exposed, if I'm remembering correctly. And he says he's not mad about it, but I think he was mad about it. I think it was a venue for him to be mean,
Yeah.
and he liked that. And then he got exposed, and he was like, "Well, it's public now, so why bother hiding it?" So I don't know if he wrote that book in spite, but it might be a spite book. It kind of feels like I said, it feels angry, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird violence in there that you would see in a Bachman book. So yeah, totally.
We're going to jump around a bit. This is the area of the questions that I get excited and I like to hop, skip, jump. So we're going to jump to a question that I really like about King novels where you would like to see an individual character have more content. So, for example, we've got Danny Torrance with Dr. Sleep, and he's also in The Shining. Is there a character that you would like to get the Holly Gibney treatment, or maybe a novel that you think could get a sequel, prequel? And then this one's a two-parter because over the years I've fallen in love with the mysterious ending of Charlie McGee. And so if you have any thoughts to where you would take Charlie's story, let me know.
I'm going to answer the Charlie one first, although Firestarter, funny enough, is one that I haven't read yet.
Okay.
But I do have an answer for this because there's a book that kind of reminded me of it. It's called Girl on Fire by Gemma Amor.
Okay.
This is a book about a woman who has a similar power. She can light things on fire with her mind, the power of her mind, right? But this book is mostly about abuse handed over by men, and she ends up killing someone, and then she goes on the run. And so anyone who comes after her, it's basically like a road warrior book about a woman who can blow things up with her mind. And so I think that if Charlie ever lost it, got angry to the point where she can't come back, it would be fun. Girl on Fire or a book like that was Charlie's future. I don't want Charlie necessarily to go through that. It would just be fun for the reader, right? And the next question, I can't remember her name. I forgot to write it down in my notes. But the young daughter in Pet Cemetery, the girl who survives the whole thing.
Oh crap. I don't remember either. Is it something Emily? Oh my goodness. All the constant readers are screaming it at us right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Let me look it up real quick.
Okay, not a problem. Pet Cemetery is one that's really, really jonesing for a reread. I need to reread it. It's time, but I don't remember the little sister's name. I just remember Little Gage and
Ellie.
Church. Ellie.
Ellie, yes.
Oh my God, my brain was so close. Okay, it was an E. Got it.
Definitely Ellie, because there's things about that book that are left completely open. I would like to see her become an adult and be curious as to what happened to her parents. And so she goes and looks, and they're still around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's spooky.
That would be creepy as heck, right? Like, I would love to read that. I would read that book in a heartbeat, right? Like, I'm surprised nobody, I don't think anybody on your show has ever mentioned that, but I've always been curious, like going back and seeing what happened to your parents, like quite literally, because they're still around. But you were told they were dead or something, right?
That's a good one. I don't remember if anybody has said Ellie. That's nice.
I think somebody did say Ellie, but it wasn't, I don't think it went into this direction. It was just like, how did she fare out and how did she cope
Right.
and all that, right? But I'm like, no, the parents, they're still there unless somebody put them down and buried them properly. They're still wandering around in the woods or something, eating rabbits or something. So
Dude, that is a spooky foundation for a fan fiction right there, Jason.
it is, yeah. I would love to see that. Or they might be still. I don't know, because like there's stories in Pet Cemetery about people having been buried in the pet cemetery and coming back. And it's not like they're haunting the town or anything. So maybe I'm going too far with that, but I think it has some spooky foundations.
I'm on board. I really like it. Let's move on to another favorite question of mine about your Stephen King villain favorite.
Oh,
Who makes Jason's list?
it's fun to hate people like when they're fake, right? There's just something about that. And so I have a couple here. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
But I've never hated any fictional character more than I've hated these characters.
Excellent.
Now, two come from the same book. And that is Big Jim Rennie and his son, Junior Rennie. Those two are, especially Big Jim. I mean, Junior, he had a brain tumor. He couldn't necessarily control what he was doing, but the things he was doing were disgusting and very, very creepy, like serial killer stuff, right? And Big Jim is just so hateful. You kind of want to crawl through the pages and tear his face off, like
1000% agree.
yeah. And another character who's just as bad, but just as fun to kind of hate is Percy Wetmore from Green Mile.
Ugh.
That little bastard is just such an evil little shit. And
Yes.
you just want to wrap your fingers around his neck, like I've never met anybody so evil as these people, yet Stephen King can make you believe that they're real. And that to an extent, these people, they do exist out there. I mean, because you've seen things on the news, you've seen maybe glimpses of it in your own life, and maybe you're out there and you're like, nope, there's a Percy Wetmore in my life, and he's making it hell. But yeah, just, those characters, man, they're just they're fun to read because you hate them so much and you want to see them get their just rewards.
Oh, great choices. You chose 3 absolutely irredeemable King villains. Well done.
Yeah. They're so much fun to hate. I was just going to repeat myself, but yeah, they're just so much fun to hate.
Yeah, I want them to be thrown on a pyre immediately and burned alive. I hate them so much. So I'm with you.
Absolutely.
There's only death for these people, nothing less.
And a painful one at that.
Correct. Here, sir. All right, buddy, let's talk about Stephen King titles that you've reread, maybe the most, or which King titles have you reread and you really got a much more enjoyable secondary, tertiary, quaternary experience out of it?
Oh man, I'm not much of a rereader, but with Stephen King, I am. I've just in the past year alone, I've reread Pet Cemetery, The Shining, The Stand. Those, I keep going back to my favorites. It's just fun to sit through. And there's books definitely that I want to go and reread, like Doomakey. I've only read that one once, and it was a favorite of mine. I absolutely adore that. But yeah, I'm a huge Stephen King rereader. And I think it's because it's the way he builds his worlds. It's not just his worlds, because it's debatable whether or not he's a good world builder, but he's definitely a fantastic character builder. And you fall in love with those characters. And so it's great to go back and revisit them. It was this time last year that I was rereading The Stand. And it was just such a fun time going back and being with those characters again, right? But I also want to reread it again. That would be my third time with that one. There's so many that I could probably just keep reading Stephen King books and be happy, honestly. Um, yeah, so I'm a huge. Are you a huge rereader as well?
With King, yes, I'm with you, sir. I am. I don't think I've read them as many times as others. I want to say the one I've reread the most is probably Joyland.
Oh, Joyland, yeah.
It's a shorter one, and I've taught segments of it in my class.
Nice.
So that one I've reread the most, but I've reread it a couple times. Lisi's story I've read a couple
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Not as many as I would like, but I am a very happy rereader.
Yeah, me too. There's just something like there's also something weird about Stephen King stories that you may know what's going to happen, but you fall into it almost the same way you did the first time, where you just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read it or listen to it, whatever the case is, and enjoy it. And I find myself doing that when I'm reading them through for the first time. But the second time can be even better because you pick out things that you missed the first time, or even forgot about. It doesn't matter, but you're always like, oh, I didn't notice that, right? And it's interesting what King is trying to say here, and I didn't notice that either. It's so much fun to go back and reread them.
Agree. I had an awesome roommate back in the day named Liz, who was a well seasoned constant reader, and I was a little baby constant reader about 15 years ago. And she said the best quote about Stephen King's writing that I stand by, and I think it's perfect. She said, I feel like every time I read a Stephen King title, I'm very, very hungry and I'm about to sit down to a very good meal.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic quote. I love that. There's another book that I've read the most, and it's a novella that's in If It Bleeds that is my absolute favorite King at the moment, and that is Life of Chuck. I
Oh,
absolutely adore that story, and I adore the movie adaptation. I've only seen the adaptation once, um, but it's hard for me to watch it because my family they went to the theater to see it with me, but they're not really into that kind of thing. So uh, if I was like I want to watch this 10 times, they're going to be like again. But I've read the book a lot, right? And that one I return to often. It's if I'm feeling down or whatever, that book always manages to pick me up, especially that middle part where they just dance. I don't know why, but that gets me. I'm not particularly into dancing or watching people dance, but there's just something about that book where uh, no matter what's going on in your life, there's something magical like that can happen. And I think we've all experienced. Maybe we don't break into dance or anything, but we all experience that one thing here and there that's magical. It feels magical in life that just picks you back up and keeps you going. And it just reminds me of that. And I adore that whole story from beginning to end. And I adore that type of storytelling from Stephen King. I call them like life slice of life stories
yeah.
because that's exactly what they are. They're not negative and they're not necessarily positive either, but they can really tug at the heartstrings. And it's something I'm coming more and more to appreciate in Stephen King novels and short stories to the point where I'm coming to the point in my life where I prefer that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I love reading it from him.
Oh, so beautifully said. I'm like hanging on every word, feeling all the feels. That was so beautiful, Jason.
Well, thank you.
I'm so happy that King is a creative who is pulling out some really gorgeous slice of life stories, as you said.
Yeah.
Life of Chuck, the first time I read If It Bleeds, it was lower on the list, I think, because I really, really loved Mr. Harrigan's phone so much.
You know what? I love that one too. And have you watched the movie adaptation of that?
Yes, it's great.
I think it's actually better than the short story. And that's saying something because the
Yeah.
short story is fantastic. But what I love about that adaptation is they go into the books more than the actual, like Stephen King's well known for going into books and teaching you about books in his fiction. But this one actually, like, it has chapter points where they'll be discussing a book. And so it's like, I forget the books they discuss, but it'll have like the title, like part four, East of Eden or something like that,
Right.
right? I don't think they talk about East of Eden, but I'm just using that as an example. But and it also becomes part of the discussion in the movie, and I appreciated that. I need to rewatch that. That's a fantastic and reread it. I love those two.
Same. If It Bleeds is such a heavy hitter. Every single novella is amazing. I really even love Rat. And so
Rat was good too. Yeah.
Life of Chuck, everyone was so moved by Life of Chuck. And I was like, it's good. And then after reading it again and seeing the film, I was like, okay, I definitely missed something here. And this is
Yeah.
really special. This is really special.
I think Stephen King just has a way of capturing life in its entirety and bringing out the magic in life. Um, he can also obviously bring out the horrific and terrible things, but that's part of life too, right? Um, you live, you die, people you know die, and that's the worst part. Like that's what Stephen King, I think, writes about the most. His horror and his non-horror, it's always about losing someone,
Mhm.
and that is the most horrific thing you can go through in life is being there with somebody, thinking in a way that this situation in life is invincible. It's always going to be this way, but it's not. There's going to be a new chapter in your life, and not everyone is going to be there in that chapter. And Stephen King can take that idea and make it into something horrifying or something beautiful or both.
Oh, well said, Jason. Oh my goodness. You need your own lecture hall. Sell ticket.
No, I don't think anybody would show, but
I would show and I would have a high porn with me. Beep, beep, beep every time. If they wouldn't, they would probably confiscate my high porn. So I'll just do snaps. I'll be snapping by myself.
yeah, I like
Right.
that.
I'll be snapping in the crowd. We're going to talk about Jason's favorite Stephen King females.
Oh, I have a list here. I just have to find. Okay, here we go. Um, I have more. Okay, you set up to five choices, so I went with five.
Yeah, do it.
So I want to talk about Holly Gibney because she's another Facebook hates Holly Gibney. On my Facebook page, anytime you mention Holly Gibney, people are like, ugh. You know, they go on about like books like The Outsider, and they're like, oh, it was great until Holly came in,
What?
and I know, right? And so Holly gets so much hate, and I don't get it because I love Holly. Like I'm pretty sure I'm like you, if I remember correctly in your story with Holly. I didn't like her particularly all that well in the beginning.
Yeah.
But what's fun about Holly is watching her become that fraidy cat who's afraid of everything and completely unsure of herself. So completely unsure of herself. She's hard to like in that way, right? But she becomes something strong. And but the fun thing about it is even though she conquers her fears, the fears are still there for the most part. But she learns how to grow into it and accept it and overcome it every time it becomes a problem. And I love that about Holly. And it's so much fun watching her become the complete opposite of where she started.
Yeah.
And it wasn't her fault where she was. She was basically being held prisoner by, was it her? Yeah, it was her mother and her father, mostly her mother, I think. And she wasn't allowed to do anything. She didn't know anything else, right? So coming out of that cave, I loved it when she was like, I'm moving out. And her mother was like, I don't think so. I'm probably remembering this wrong. It was in not Mr. Mercedes, but I think the second book, or maybe it was Mr. Mercedes at the end. I can't remember, but it was just a great, like seeing that happen and then seeing her progress from that when she started working with oh my God, I'm forgetting the guy's name from Mr. Mercedes.
Bill Hodges.
Bill Hodges. When she starts working with Bill Hodges really helps her come into her own. And I love that. I love that little trilogy. And I love reading the Holly books too, except for maybe Never Flinch. That one was a bit of a tough go for me, but I think Stephen King wasn't exactly happy with the outcome of that one either. But that's okay. It was still good. I don't hate it. It's not in my bottom list like books I've already mentioned. It just wasn't. It just didn't hit the right level. I think. I don't know. You could tell he was working on two stories at the same time, and he said he had it in a different format in the beginning. If you read the afterward, and then he changed the format. He maybe should have. I don't know. He says that Tabitha, his wife, suggested he rewrite it, and he rewrote it. So maybe it is much better than it was before. But I'm not gonna sit here and complain about Never Flinch too much. I am excited for the new Holly book that's coming out soon. It'll be interesting to see where, because I have a feeling he wants to take her on a full course uh, of uh, of life in a
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
because she's been at different stages of her life throughout the books, and so it'll be interesting to see where he goes with her. I also have Odetta from Dark Tower.
Oh, nice.
She starts off as like a cartoon character, but
Yeah.
she also progresses into something. First, she starts off kind of crazy, right? She has that personality disorder where she switches between different personalities. And they call it schizophrenia in the book, but it's not schizophrenia. Um, but she turns in like it's almost questionable the way King presents it, right?
Yeah.
But she becomes something so much more in the following books in the Dark Tower that you can really respect and look up to, honestly. So she was a lot of fun to read. Annie Wilkes, of course, from Misery, because she's the scary woman of every man's nightmare. she
There you go. Yep.
she is just there's something cockadoodle about her.
Yeah.
But she's fun to read, right? You kind of feel bad for her too because she's a victim of something, and she's kind of a reflection of it too. And so it's a heartbreaking. I would like to see actually a story about her life previous to see how she became who she is. That just hit me now. So that would be an interesting prequel book, I think. Sadie Dunhill from 11/22/63. She's just a sweetie, and oh my god, uh, you know, I don't typically fall in love with characters too often, but you kind of fall in love with her a little bit, even if it's superficial. Just the ending of that book, right? It's just so it's heartfelt, and I loved it. And of course, Beverly. I love Beverly. I think Beverly was perhaps I doted on her a little bit while reading it the first time, and yeah, so that's my five. I love Beverly. I don't know who I would love the most. Beverly, I have very fond feelings for, nostalgic feelings, but everyone else is more of looking up to. I think you can look up to these women, and you could look up to Beverly too. I think I absolutely adore all of them.
Oh, great list. Those are some solid choices. I'm a fan. I'm actually really happy that you chose Holly because you're right. She really has a lot of hate, and there are so many who are not fans of
I
hers.
don't get it. Like, what? Why the Holly hate? Doesn't make any sense. I can live with Holly. I love Holly. I enjoy reading Holly. I think it's a reflection, honestly, of King's newer works.
Yeah.
A lot of people are holding on because they remember reading The Nasty King in the early '80s,
Yeah.
and they're attached to that.
Yep.
And so when King gets a little bit different, because he is different writer now than he was back then. When he changes like that, the people who want the horror and all that, they're disappointed. I am of that character too, but I grew with King. I think I wouldn't say King and I are spirit animals or anything crazy like that, but I think I can recognize the journey that he's taking with his writing and perhaps even his own life, and know that there's more than the nasty out there, and I want to see more. I want to see the other side as well. I don't want just the nasty. And actually, I'm kind of getting away from it more and more the older I get.
Oh, I love that. Well said. That is such a great message for not to genderize it out there, but a lot of male King readers and some
Hmm.
female King readers as well who are stuck in a groove that they probably need to branch out of.
Yeah,
I think that's good advice.
I know what you're talking about because, like, on your show, you would mention occasionally that a lot of guys don't like The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
Yeah.
And I absolutely adored that book the first time I read it.
Yay!
And I think it's because I like seeing that other side, a different side. And that book was kind of trippy in a sense, because you didn't know what was going on until the end. And in the end, it doesn't really explain, was it this or
Right?
was it that, right? It
Yep.
could have been, it probably was just that. I'm not going to spoil it. So it was probably just, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but it could have been the other as well.
Yeah.
And that could be an interesting sequel too, if she were to get lost in the woods again or something and experience something similar. And this time it's proven that it's probably something other than what we thought.
Quick side tangent. You reminded me of something that I tell my students when they get really cranky about things we have to read or assignments or writing prompts that they don't like. And so I always talk about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And I know it's probably used in corporate speak as well, but I think you're the kind of reader, Jason, that's a growth mindset person. Whereas a lot of King readers are fixed. They like what
Mm-hmm.
they like in horror. They want the horror book they're reading to tick a box and give them a certain dopamine effect. Whereas, like you mentioned with some of the questions you've answered, you're always eager to just learn and see what he does and observe the process, which is why I think so many people misunderstand Holly, because Holly is not somebody at the end of the day we want to maybe emulate because she's an older woman. This is a middle-aged woman with a lot of neurodivergence, a lot of quirks that some people might find unappealing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a growth mindset like yourself, you're looking at King's process with this character. It just keeps you open to art and what he's doing. And so I just applaud you for having a growth mindset as a reader.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think that's what part of what art is about
Yeah.
reflecting life, right? And something I enjoy doing, like if you're going to read something from a different country, it's fun picking out the things that you can relate to, especially like the more foreign the experience is, there's still human experiences in there, and that's what I'm looking for when I read. I want to connect with the story. Sometimes you can't, and you'll still enjoy the story. It doesn't matter. But if you can connect with it, it's so much more enjoyable. And that's what Stephen King stories do. And that's what Holly does. You connect with her on a level. Like I can't connect with her 100%, but there's things in there that I do connect with. And I feel for Holly. Even when you first meet her and you kind of don't like her because she's such a sheltered little creature, you can even maybe connect with a little bit of that, and it's more of like a reflection of things you don't like about yourself, maybe. But you see her grow, and you see how you yourself have grown, and maybe that's why I like Holly so much, because we kind of come from a similar past, not obviously not identical, but similar. And we've both kind of come out of the box and we've both grown. And I recognize that. And Stephen King is like a master at doing that.
My last thought on Holly before we move on. So, where we're at with Holly in terms of Never Flinch, which I feel the same with you about that book, but where we're at with Holly as the character, I think she is the ultimate poster child for doing it afraid. She is such a
Mm.
great example of being afraid and doing it anyway. And that's pretty heroic.
And that's me. Because I am terrified of almost everything, and yet I still go out and do it. And that is, I think a lot of people don't do that. People who feel a lot of anxiety. I have anxiety issues. I have depression issues. Um, and you can let it rule your life, or you can say, no, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm not going to listen to those voices that tell me I'm not good enough. Um, and or I'm not smart enough. I'm just gonna put myself out there anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, to anyone who's listening to this who feels that way and wants to step out of their boundaries, you're not going to be good at it at first. I remember the first podcast I did, I was awful. I was a guest on a podcast for a short story I wrote, and I was just absolutely horrible. I didn't know what to say. And then about 4 or 5 years after that, I'm doing my own podcast. What the hell was I thinking? But of course, I would go gravitate towards something like that. I love podcasts. That's one reason why I did it. But just go out and do the thing, man. Don't be afraid. Okay, be afraid, but just do it anyway. Accept your fear. That's what I say. Accept your fear. Be friends with it. Don't fight it. Just go out and do it anyway. If you come out the other end looking like a fool, so what? So what, man? Just move on to the next thing. Keep doing it.
Yay, Jason, I'm clapping. Preach. That's so great. I love that so much.
And you know what, that's a realization right now why I love Holly so much. She did that. She did that exact same thing, and she's still kind of panicky over things, but she's like, she'll go and do it anyway. I love that about her.
Yeah, dude. I mean, in The Outsider, she went into that flipping cave
I know,
alone.
right? Jeez.
I mean, she kind of wasn't alone. I won't spoil it, but she was pretty much alone with the outsider, which was terrifying.
I love that book so much.
So good.
The first half had me in like
Oh
stitches, man. I was like, oh my God. Like
insanity.
I was absolutely, my head was like spinning, like literally.
We are asking Jason his favorite Stephen King setting. If Jason was going to take short bites on the road and maybe get stuck in a Stephen King setting for a couple weeks, maybe the summer, where would you want to get stuck?
And that's a tough question to answer because some of them are so bad.
They be bad. Some of them are not great.
No, at all. Honestly, I think I would like to go to Joyland because it just
Yay!
seems like a nice place to be. You know the ending of Revival?
Yes, I do.
Definitely not that.
God in heaven.
Would have been, I'd love to be there, man.
No, oh, right as you said that, I just got such a chill, such a sense of doom.
That would be weird, yeah. But also, you know, if I didn't like being my own person, and if you read Life of Chuck, you know what I'm talking about. But if I didn't like being my own person, I'd want to live in Chuck's mind because his mind seemed like a good place to be too. And also to go to the spooky route, if I were to be a ghost and haunt people, I would love to go to the Overlook Hotel and be a ghost there. That would be my most terrifying place that I would like to go if I was to be a ghost. Go ooh at the guests every so often.
Very nice. I support this. I support it.
Yeah.
All right, let's ask Jason about his favorite Stephen King films and television adaptations. What are some of your favorites for the silver screen and beyond?
Well, I have two typical ones and one non-typical one. The typical ones are The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. I mean, those are just brilliant masterpieces. I absolutely adore them. But the one that nobody really talks about and I absolutely adore, just because it's cheesy fun, is The Night Flyer.
Oh, cool.
That's another one where the movie is actually maybe a bit better in the book because the ending of The Night Flyer goes into a different, completely more dark and twisted area that the short story didn't go into. And it's just fun. This vampire Dracula in an airplane with his graveyard bed in the back seat. Fun. I mean, that's a movie I return to all the time because I actually hunted down the DVD for that and I paid probably a little bit more than I should have for it because you can't find it, at least not when I was looking for it. You might be able to now, I don't know, but that's one of my all-time favorite movies, mostly just because of the fun factor.
Oh, awesome. I need to watch that one. I read the short story, which I loved. I thought that one was terrific fun, but the movie is on my list. I'm going to watch it.
The ending is really dark, just so you know. It goes into some places that will probably surprise you. And it's also dated, like the acting and everything. I mean, the acting is good, but just the whole you can tell it's filmed in the 90s and you can tell. But it's a fantastic film, I think, anyway.
Copy that. I'm going to get ready here to watch Creepshow for the very first time. I've never seen it, so I'll make sure Night Flyers.
That one is definitely dated too. but it's fun as well. Yeah.
Very cool. I'm going to make sure that one is right next to Creepshow.
Yeah.
This question is asking Jason about his favorite Stephen King couple, friendship, or team. You could probably do an example from all of them. I don't mind.
Well, definitely the quartet. I love the quartet, and I was always happy when they were together, and when they were apart, I just wanted them to get back together again. Another one that's a little bit weird, maybe to say, but I have a lot of people don't like Tommyknockers, and I get it. That's fine. It was this last book that Stephen King wrote when he was really ruined on drugs.
Yeah,
and you can kind of tell, except that most people can't write a book like that detailed. People can't write a book like Tommyknockers, and Stephen King did it when he was ruined, basically.
Yeah.
It's like Cujo. We were talking about Cujo before we went on. He says he claims that he can't remember writing that book, and yet it's so detailed and so well written. How did he write that in a blackout? Like, it's insane to even, like, this man's brain is like, I can't wrap my head around it. But anyways, getting back to Tommyknockers, I really loved Bobby Anderson and James Gardner as a relationship because, well, first of all, James or Jimmy, he was just fun to watch because he's an alcoholic, but he was also kind of crazy, right? He's like chasing people around with umbrellas who disagree with him on certain political matters, and that's just fun for me. That's like my popcorn stuff, right? But Bobby Anderson, she is one of the people in the town who finds she's the one who finds the alien, and she's, I think, affected first. And I just love the idea of being able to write a novel in your sleep. That's just a funny thing, right? But the thing about these two is that there's, even though they're very different people and they're both writers, they're very sort of loyal to each other in a sense, and I appreciated that, especially Jim. Jim, he's sort of trying to take care of Bobby while she's going through this dark journey of whatever's going on with the aliens, and that's just something that I appreciated and enjoyed reading throughout the Tommyknockers. It's one thing that makes me such a big fan of the Tommyknockers is their relationship and them as characters separately.
Very nice. We are going to mosey right along to favorite Stephen King animal, pet, or
Mm.
creature.
I'm afraid I have to be the typical answer on this, but of course it's Oi. How could it not be Oi? Oi made me want to get a talking dog.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got a talking dog, and she yells at me every day.
Oh,
She's,
sweet.
"Arr, arr, arr, arr." Except she's not quite as articulate as Oi is, but I can tell when she's telling me off.
That's so cute.
I love Oi so much, though. He's just such a. Of course, he's not a dog. He's a Billy Bumbler, but he might as well be a dog. He's a dog in my world, right?
Right.
But I absolutely adore Oi. He's just such a friendly little guy, and he's got like his own personality. And he always said things right at the right time that that would either make you laugh or cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Oi was just that character that had like the lines, even though he'd only say one thing. Like what was it he says that, oh, I'm not gonna say that. Oi ache. Okay, I said it. Oi ache.
There you go.
That broke my heart.
Yeah. I have heard over and over and over again that Oi is always the number one choice. And I love this answer because I love Oi. I think he's great. And then it's not until, at least for me, I finished my Dark Tower journey and I fully understand why Oi is
Yeah.
forever. Oi is forever.
Oi is forever.
I get it. I get it.
They need to make Oi shirt, really.
Yes. Oh yeah. I need everything. I need everything. Yeah. And I'm so excited for the day when Flanagan gets Dark Tower off the ground.
Me too.
We're gonna get him on film. We're gonna get away. It's gonna be great.
I really hope that becomes a thing, that because it's taking so long, you just get worried, right?
Yeah.
The longer things take, sometimes it feels like the less likely it's going to be made. And so that makes, but every time Flanagan goes on a podcast and he's asked about it, he says that it's moving forward. He says that it's just such a big project that he needs to do a lot of pre-production first. And so they meet like once a week or something. I don't know if that's still going on. Since about a year ago when I heard that last update, but hopefully, because he's the only guy who can really pull this one off, I think.
Totally. 100% agree. In the spirit of Oi, this is a very open-ended question, very raw reaction. And now that I've finished my Dark Tower journey, you could, tiptoeing around spoilers, of course, but you could talk about the ending. You could talk about things in the book. So this question is asking, what are your thoughts on the Dark Tower?
I absolutely love the Dark Tower. But I have an interesting history with it because I didn't always love it. I struggled with it in the beginning. So the first time I tried it, I read the first book and then I stopped there. It wasn't that the first book is bad. It's just that it doesn't really do anything to make you want to continue reading it. I don't know why that is, but it feels like a prologue. And I've heard people say that the Dark Tower is just one book. It's one big, massive book. And I agree with that. And the Gunslinger is the prologue. And I think that's important. I don't think you can skip it. Some people say just skip it. Don't skip it. Read it. But know that it gets much better after that. I would say it's my least in the series. And then I started it again later on, and I made it to book 3. that time I didn't stop because I hated it. I don't know why I stopped. Life got in the way. A new shiny book got in the way. And then I just forgot to go to it. So I finally finished it. I think it was last year. No, 2 years ago now. I finished the whole. I started it again. So I've read the first book 3 times. The second and third books I've read twice, and then all the rest I've only read once because me and a friend read it as like a buddy read, and we discussed it on the Weird Reads podcast. So after each book, we weren't like doing deep dives into it like some podcasts. We were just chatting about it like two friends, having a conversation about the book and what we liked, what we didn't like, and all that. So we went through the whole series, and my God, I love that series. The ending. Again, that's another Facebook thing. A lot of people didn't like the ending, but I don't understand that either. To me, it's another life thing.
Yeah.
It seems like life is a bit of a wheel, and that's not a spoiler because I think he says that more than once in the series.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate about the book and that ending, the very specific ending itself, when you get to the tower, so to speak. It's just a reminder that life might be something more than and it's not necessarily what the Christians would have you say, or even the Buddhists. Although I say this, the philosophies in this book are somewhat Buddhist, especially that ending. But it's not necessarily that stuff. It is something else, maybe, and we won't know until we get there, right?
Right.
And even then, you probably still won't know. But maybe life just doesn't end. You just don't know whether it ends or not completely, and you never will know, but you might still go on. And that's what I like about the series. It's sort of a reminder of that, if there is anything to remember, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It does. That's such a beautiful answer. I really like that. It's got a lot of depth, and I think that's what I realized by the time I reached book 7.
Yeah.
Because book 7 is just like, okay, this is the big stopping point. Maybe not the end, like you said, but a large stopping point. And so coming to terms with that big stopping point with the characters, I just had so much warm reflection on the journey as a whole, because as you said, I also struggled with the gunslinger. I struggled a little bit with drawing of the 3 too. I had more fun with drawing of the 3. That was really
Yeah.
fun, but it's such a puzzling journey because you're like, who are these people? Why is it together? What's going on? What is all of this lore? What is this North Central pot? What? And so it's so many concepts and so many large things.
It's completely batshit crazy too, right? The whole series is batshit crazy, and I think that'll either turn people off, or it's the type of thing that would pull me along. I just have fun with that, right? But you're right. You're like, what the hell is going on here? Why? What? The train? The mutants?
Oh my God. Yeah. Slow mutants.
Yeah.
Lobstrosities. And you're like,
Lobstrosities.
This is a bad trip, Steve. This is a bad cold medicine acid trip. What we got going here?
What did you slip into my coffee?
Correct.
You're making me hallucinate here.
Right. But like you said, if you keep going, it just reveals itself, and these characters become the most magical, wonderful family members. And you're just, it's a wonderful, wonderful set of novels. I'm glad that you see them in totality for how strong they are.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a few more questions for Jason. We are getting to the end here. This question was born out of a little crush I had on Billy Summers. And so I'm asking constant readers, if there's anybody in your King reading who you've maybe either had romantic attraction towards or bromantic, anybody who you're like, I want to be this guy's best friend. I really want to go camping with this dude. He is so cool. Or she, it could be platonic bromance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have anybody?
Well, when I first read it, I think I briefly mentioned this in the beginning. When I first read it, I kind of had like a little crush on Beverly. Beverly just seemed like the type of girl I would have fell in love with in real life, like immediately. You know what I mean? So I these days I don't really fall for characters anymore, not like that. But I would definitely have fallen in love with her in my teenage years, early 20s. Absolutely. Also, I would want to be a part of the quartet. I
Nice.
would love to hang out with all of them. I'd love to have Roland as a leader, even though he wasn't the greatest leader of. But like, who is the greatest leader, right?
Yeah.
He was still a badass, and I could maybe put my life into his hands if I had to. And Eddie, he was just a hoot, right? And of course, there's Odetta, and oh my God, how could I forget the kid's name?
Jake.
Jake, of course. Jake is just that kid would, if he liked you, he would die for you.
Yes.
And I would die for Jake totally. And then
Yeah.
there's Oi, right? So I'd want to be part of the quartet. I'm not gonna lie.
Good.
I'd be terrified. I wouldn't want to be shooting at 70-foot bears, but I would shoot at 70-foot bears for that quartet.
Oh.
For sure.
Great answer. I love that. I love that. This is another favorite question of mine because I think you and I have spoken to so many constant readers who are very gentle creatures, which makes so much sense. All of the horror goth kids are the sweetest people on earth.
Absolutely. You're right.
The hippie granolas are the meanest people on earth.
You're right.
I don't make the rules, but I learned them.
That's just how it goes. Yeah.
That's how it goes, as you know. And so anytime I bring up this question, they're like, "Oh, I'm nonviolent." And I was like, "Well, I'm not. I would kill somebody." So I want somebody who would throw somebody into a fire if they had to. And then who would you save from a fire in a King novel if you had the opportunity to save somebody?
All right. Well, definitely Percy Wetmore from the Green Mile. He's going into that fire, and
Yeah.
he's gonna burn slowly, and he's gonna think about all the terrible things he did to people while he's burning.
Excellent. Love it.
That's definitely who's going into the fire. But I want to take out an entire family from the fire, and that's the Creed family. They didn't deserve that shit. They do not deserve. They're good people. I think they would be really like when you meet them, you don't hate these people. You love them. You fall in love. That's part of the tragedy, right? You fall in
Yeah.
love with these people, and then tragedy strikes, and they do terrible things, but they're not doing terrible things to each other. They're just trying to fix, you know, what went wrong because they love each other so much. And I kind of felt for them being like in a family myself. Like the first time I read that, I didn't think that way. I was just like, oh, that's a spooky book, right? But the second time I read it, I had a family of my own. And that's when you're like, no, why Mr. King? I understand I understand why he almost trunked that novel forever. And I'm so glad that he ended up putting it out there because this is a fantastic book. This is such a beautiful book and yet terribly, terribly like dark. And it's that fear of losing family. So I totally get it, man. I want that family out of the fire and I want them to be okay. They didn't deserve that shit.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer, Jason. I love that. I've not heard that before, and that's so good. Oh, that makes me really happy because you're right. It was just such tragedy that befell that family, and none of them deserved it. And then it was just calamity after said tragedy. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer. Super, super good. So with your podcast, I think that you do talk with a lot of constant readers, but I think there's some non-King readers as well, especially with your short story series. So this question is asking what you might recommend to a non-King reader who isn't in our community yet. How do you sort of suggest titles to them?
The one thing about Stephen King that makes him easy to recommend is because he writes across different genres, right? So really for me it depends on what they enjoy reading. If they're into horror but they haven't read Stephen King yet, I would go for The Throat. It's like try Pet Cemetery first or The Shining.
Yeah.
Probably The Shining first. I wouldn't say It or anything like that because most people are intimidated by thick books, but It would be on the list too. Like if you like those books, you like the style, then go for It. Enjoy that. But if they're not into horror, I would suggest something like 11/22/63 or The Long Walk or Joyland, depending on their tastes. But those three books I think are great starting points for non Stephen King fans or non horror fans. And The Institute if they're into Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is such a big thing, right? And
Yeah.
that has such a Stranger Things vibe to it. I remember reading it. It's not necessarily a favorite of mine by Stephen King, but I really had fun reading it. It's a good thriller, right? And it had that Stranger Things feel to it. So if if the person looking to get into Stephen King is like a really big Stranger Things fan, I would definitely recommend that first.
Oh, that's so great. Great list. I've not heard that. And that makes so much sense, especially for younger folk, Gen
Yeah,
Z and younger.
absolutely. Yeah.
You're so right, Jason, because I think Netflix has allowed Stranger Things to be so accessible. There were so many seasons. It's such a
Hmm.
great show. So they most likely have seen Stranger Things. And so if you can tie in the Institute, oh, that's brilliant. That's such a power move.
Well, I would like to recommend it to my son, my 12-year-old, but he's not into books right now, which breaks my heart. He does read books, but he has to be told to read the book by either his teacher or sometimes me and his mom will be like, okay, we're going to read a book together. And he's just like, I'd rather play video games, but
He'll get there. He'll
I
get
think he'll get there one day. Yeah.
Yeah, he will. My brother was like that. My
Oh,
middle
yeah.
brother was, I never saw that kid. He was either at the skate park from the ages of 12 to 18, and now he is a dungeon master for
Oh, sweet.
D&D, and he probably reads about a book a week.
Nice.
He's 30, I can't do math. I'm 40, so he's going to be 37.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Promise it gets better.
It
And
gets better. Yeah.
my parents were like, your brother, he's just a little video game skate boy, and now he's a bibliophile,
Oh, excellent.
reads more than me. So
There's hope. There
there's
is hope.
tons of hope. Yeah, he reads books faster than me. He told me about King Sorrow.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. I'll keep the hope level up a bit then.
You should. You should. Got two more questions left for Jason. This last one, or pardon me, second to last one is asking Jason if you had the opportunity to get a king title signed, which I think you and I are both in the same, like we could completely live our lives without it. Like we don't need it. But if we had a magical wishing well to wish upon and we could get one signed, which one would it be?
Yeah, this is the first book that I read by Stephen King, and it's Misery. It's
Oh, the
hardcover.
86 cover.
Yeah, and there's Mr. King there,
There you go.
but I'm pretty sure it's the first print, and I always forget whether because these things don't really matter to me too much, but there's probably somebody out there salivating saying I want that book because it's the first print. Yeah, it is. It is a first printing, and I read it. This is the book that I read, and I've kept it all these years. It's one of the only books that I've actually been able to keep because of certain circumstances. So I would get him to sign this. This is like a momentum in both my journey and his. So definitely that.
Very nice. That is a mint condition Misery copy. Very nice.
It is. There's some dents in the end around Stephen King's elbow and shoulder there that you can't really see. It looks like somebody was chewing on it or something. I don't know, but
it looks good from here. Looks
yeah.
good. All right. This is our final question for Jason on his Constant Reader interview. What are your top 5 favorite Stephen King titles? I know it says novels, but you're able to switch it to titles. This could be short story collections, novella collections, individual novels. What are your top 5 and why are they
there? This is always hard to come up with, right?
Yeah. It's kind of the worst question.
No, I like it because I love doing this. But I know that if you asked me again in a year from now, I would come up with some of these would still be here, but I would switch out others for something else. So this is what I got for now. I got Under the Dome because
nice.
that book is so layered, right? There's so much going on in that book. I love the radio excerpts. That was fun. The whole book itself is just fun. And I think it's a good commentary on small town life, but it's also a good commentary on what we're doing to the planet. That I don't think you can ignore it, but the characters are all fun to read and they're very deep. It's always comes down to the characters for me and their experiences. And of course, Big Jim Rennie, he's just fun to hate. He's the guy I remember the most, right? I also have Life of Chuck because that one just touches me. I don't know why, but it's like it was written for me specifically in a sense. Obviously, it wasn't, but when I read it, it just hits all the buttons. It hits all the feels. You know what I mean? It hits all those feel buttons, I guess. I don't know, but I absolutely adore that story. And I think it's because it's just a slice of life story. It's what we all go through. uh, magical moments or not. The Dark Tower as one book, because it is one book.
Yeah.
And this it's a very, very long book, and it's quite the journey. But that's part of and it's batshit crazy, as I said, but it also has those philosophical moments, big philosophical moments. And there's a meta part in that book that I absolutely adore. Um, it's just so much fun to read. The farther you go, the more fun it gets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love those last three books, where a lot of people don't like those last three books, but they're, if you were to say that the Dark Tower isn't one book, I would say the last three books are one book. It feels like they're all this, like in the same. Well, he did rate them all together, so maybe that's why it feels that way. But yeah, that series is there. The Outsider is my next one.
Nice.
The Outsider really blew my socks off, especially that first half. Now, a lot of people say that when Holly Gibney appears, that's when it ruins the book. It's not Holly Gibney that ruins the book. Nothing ruins the book. What happened is Stephen King wrote himself into a bit of a corner,
Yeah.
and then he brings in Holly Gibney to, like, how can you go from where it starts and gain all that momentum right up to the middle point? How do you escalate that? He escalated it so far that it was hard to continue escalating it. Like, you're having existential questions about what's going on in the story, including your own life. Like, what if there was a double me, right? Like, how scary could that be? But I just love how he escalated it in that first half. I was just like, what's going on? Oh my God. Just that whole premise of being somewhere, and it's proven that you're somewhere, but you're being accused of a crime. And there's proof that you were there at the same time committing this crime. That's just mind boggling. I love that kind of thought exercise, right? And when you don't know where it's going, but then it, like I said, it hits a wall. And a lot of people didn't like that wall, but it's not Holly Gibney that ruined it. It was that wall. And I don't think that wall ruined it either. I think you needed to pull back a little bit in order. Okay, it's like we made it to this point here. All our hearts are pounding. Let's take a bit of a break, okay? And so we took that break, and then it escalates again until the ending. And so that book, I think, is just brilliant. And I think it's kind of misunderstood as well, for the people who don't like it. And right now, my favorite of all time, I think, is 11/22/63, because that book is just such a fun ride, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it hits the feelings too. It hits all the right parts that you want to feel, all the good and the bad, of loss and love. And it's just a grand spectrum of emotion and excitement. I read it for the first time this year, and I don't know why I held off for so long, but it's right now the king of kings, and that'll change. Like I said, it'll change, but that's my top five for now.
Oh, beautiful list, Jason. That's so good. I'm so glad that you brought in two new books to the top five. I've never heard Under the Dome on there. Great job.
Neither have I.
Never heard Outsider on there, so that's awesome. And I'm so happy that 11/22 is up there because it's a masterpiece.
It is a total masterpiece. But those other two that don't get talked about or don't make the list, I don't know why they don't make the list.
Yeah.
Like I said, The Outsider blew my socks off. I was like on the ceiling with that stuff, scaring all my friends.
Yeah.
And Under the Dome was just a wild ride. People didn't like the ending. I think the ending ruined it for people, but I like that little detail isn't important. Like, you can ignore it if you want. It wasn't part of the plot. It wasn't anything like that. So uh honestly, that ending that people felt ruined for them just doesn't matter to me. It can be that, or it could be anything else. I don't care. It's the rest of the story that, I mean, the rest of the story is so much bigger compared to that it doesn't ruin it for me at all. So
I love that. And I think you putting it in the top five is a really smart chess move. This is really smart, Jason.
checkmate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm unpacking this a little bit because you're 1,000% correct. The ending of Under the Dome is the reason why it's fallen so low on everyone's list. But you're completely correct. There's such a wonderful story in there.
It's an onion, like most of his books. There's stories within stories. How could you
Yes.
take one little tiny element and say that ruins the rest of it? Like I said, that ending, I don't care about it. It doesn't matter to me. It's the rest of the book that I appreciate.
Totally. I could not agree more. We've got some amazing villains in there. We've got
Yeah.
some like freaky sci-fi stuff in there. We have very ugly political undertones. It's jam-packed and yet it doesn't get its flowers. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy that you're somebody who could see past the ending and say, no, 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 no. Let's look at what we've got here.
He could have left it completely ambiguous, and I would have loved it more because I love ambiguity in stories, but he didn't, and that's fine. To me, it's sort of an ambiguous ending. I would leave it that way myself.
Me too. Me too. If I had my way, I personally would have had it end tragically,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It
Yeah.
would have been a cold revival ending, if you know what I mean.
He should have went that route, honestly. I mean, you don't want that to happen, but it would have like left people with their jaws on the floor.
Correct. I would have really loved a nice mic drop,
Yeah.
a nice cold, echoey mic drop moment, but
Yeah.
he gave us the ending he did, and we have to digest that and look at what we've got. And I'm with you. I think that it's extraordinary for what it is. And Outsider is also electrifying.
It is.
So glad it's in your top 5.
It's absolutely electrifying. If anyone who's listening to this hasn't read that yet, just go read it. You're going to have so much fun, especially with that first half. Like, just go read it. It's fun.
Totally, totally. All right, my friend, that's all the questions. Before we dip out, can you let everybody know what you're up to with weird reads, short bites, summer plans?
I remember the last time I talked to you, I said, if you need to pull back, just pull back.
Yeah.
And so I am planning to pull back a little bit, just
Good.
for a little bit, because life, and also you just need to take a break here and there. But I do have plans. Weird Reads is my main podcast where I talk to authors a lot, and I'm trying to change it from talking to authors about their books into sort of what I do with Short Bites, talking about short stories of more dark, sinister storytellers like Shirley Jackson and Flannery O'Connor. Things that have influenced where we are right now. So you're going to see that happen on Weird Reads, and Short Bites isn't going to change unless I change the format, where it's like, what short story would you like to talk about, instead of this is what's next. I don't think I'm going to change that because I kind of want to document it that way, if that makes any sense. So on Short Bites, that's where we talk about the short stories. And so, yeah, there's Short Bites and Weird Reads, and I plan on continuing doing both, but I do plan on taking maybe a bit of a break during the summer.
Good.
That's pretty. And there's also my YouTube channel, Jason's Weird Reads. I That's been on hold for a long time. That's where I post my interviews for Weird Reads. But being a booktuber, that's where you do like book hauls and monthly reading wrap ups. I just kind of got tired of doing that, especially when I was working so hard on the interviews. So you might see me come back and do that at some point too, but I'm not too sure about that exactly. But I'm hoping to at some point. It's just that there's so many things, right? So many hobbies, and they all take time. And so sometimes things have to go to the wayside. And there's also the, having a full-time job and whatnot. So, if I had the free time, this stuff would be all that I do.
Right.
But, sometimes you have to cherry pick.
Oh, you are preaching to the choir, Mr.
Yeah.
Mason. I could not agree more. And I'm with you in supporting the break. It's been the hardest thing, but yet the most necessary / rewarding thing that I've done for myself. And it's not easy, as you know, it's like a hard pill to swallow when it's things that you love to do. But as you said, life is lifing. The life bus is running us over.
It doesn't stop. It says, I don't care what you want to do.
Correct.
You got to go do this instead. And you get tired, right? You get tired.
Yes.
And so it's important to take care of yourself at the same time. It's good to sit down and dream about this stuff too.
Yeah.
Because if you're only doing it and doing it and doing it, you're losing maybe not the passion of it, but you're losing the dream. And I'm not talking about the dream of getting rich off this stuff. That's not the dream. The dream I'm talking about are ideas like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. You can like build a whole bunch of ideas and that'll get you excited again. And then you go into it and you start doing it again. I find that if I'm working too hard on this stuff, I lose those ideas and like that dreamy quality of those ideas. Because I can space out for hours thinking about this stuff, like what I would love to do, right? And that's what fuels me, keeps me going, because I fall into those daydreamy states where I want to create something, and often it doesn't ever come out the way you're imagining it, but that doesn't matter. The dreamy part where you find your motivation, that's what drives you. That's the fuel, and that's at least for me where I like to go every so often. So I have to pull back every so often and find that again, and it always comes back. So I'm not worried about that.
Oh, I love that so much. I think we're very similar, really, really similar people, which makes sense.
Yeah,
I think similar creatives find King's work and we find, yeah. So I feel like you and I are definitely cut from the same cloth.
it sounds like it. Yeah.
I think that I'm in that exact place that you're talking about right now, is to kind of recalibrate and come from a place of abundance rather than lack. And that takes time and that takes reflection and that takes slowing down.
Well, like I said, you get tired, right? And that's the enemy of being creative
Yes.
is being exhausted, and you need to refill the batteries for sure.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. I so appreciate your work in the Stephen King community. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for listening to my show, the greatest honor of all.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for when I talked to you, I did not even think this would be a possibility, honestly. I just wanted you on my show because I wanted to talk to you about Stephen King because you're such a big fan, right? And I was like, she would be a lot of fun to talk to. And then at the end of the episode, you're like, you want to come on my show? And I was like, what? Me be on a constant reader? How? Okay, yeah. But it was a total honor and a surprise, and I had a blast talking to you.
Likewise, dear sir, we will be in touch. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the summer and keep on keeping on. You're doing great.
Thanks. You too.
That will conclude my constant reader interview with Mr. Jason White of the Stephen King Short Bites podcast, as well as Weird Reads. Huge thank yous to Jason for being such a wonderful supporter of my own efforts and also reminding me of the important things as readers and creatives. Great stuff. All right, sweet people, let's launch into a few announcements, a few housekeeping items. First things first, what do y'all know about KingCon? Yes, let's begin there. Well, boys and girls, this is a Stephen King convention brought to you by super passionate Stephen King obsessives. It is taking place in Atlantic City, New Jersey this October 22nd to the 24th, to be exact. And guess who scored an invitation this year? That's right, it's me. I'm on the guest list this year. Can you believe it? So excited. It hasn't been formally announced yet, but I've been told I can share the news. I'm going to be at KingCon this year, and I think you all should make the journey east with me, or wherever you are, maybe west, maybe south, maybe north, I don't know. Let's do this thing, guys. Let's hang out and celebrate King and be together. I will be sharing more info as it comes my way. But for now, please visit kingconinfo.com and get your tickets. Let's go, everybody. A lot of you really enjoyed my Cujo episode with Mr. Langan. Me too. It was such a blast. And the chat with John definitely lit my Cujo fire during the self-christened summer of Cujo. So I'm chipping away at the Cujo episode. I've recorded the intro, getting all my ducks in a row. Notes upon notes upon notes upon notes. That should be on the horizon soon. It's a rich one. It's an old school back to basics Kim C book analysis episode. So hopefully longtime listeners will be pleased, and I hope new folks will enjoy it as well. I think that's all the new info I have at this present moment. Once more, if you'd like more content from me, please check out my Patreon, The Dance Macabre with Kim C, at patreon.com/dancewithkimc. That's dance with an S. Lots of extra episodes over there that are shorter and equally King obsessed. There is also a complimentary Joe Hill's King Sorrow episode on the Patreon if you want to take a gander at what I do over there. Feel free to check that out, but please make sure you've read King Sorrow first. I don't want to ruin it for everyone because that is such a diamond reading experience. If you are a long-time listener but haven't said hello yet, please feel free to reach me on the socials. I'm on Instagram the most, but you could also email me at underratedsk@gmail.com and I shall respond to you promptly. Until then, thank you all so very much for being with me. I so appreciate you listening. I hope summer is treating you well. I will be back soon. Take care and bye-bye.